welcome to our second episode of Cheers with CCC. I'm Anna.
Yay! I'm Cal.
And we got we got our special guest, Porsha, on the line in front of us as well. Welcome, Porsha.
Thank you, my love. Thank you for having me, ladies.
Yes, thank you again. So, I wanted to first just thank you for all of the work that you've been doing. I mean, we're friends already, but just in general, like you, just being a nurse, I know some of the things that you go through, but also just in this time period and all that I can only imagine from what you've already told us to things that, you just have to get through on a daily basis. And then the special thing about you is that you're a traveling nurse. So my first question is, can you tell us exactly what your role is in serving our community, especially in the midst of COVID-19 as a traveling nurse?
Okay, so I'm Porsha. I'm from New York. I'm a travel nurse. I'm currently now in California doing a contract. And how I provide for the community as a travel nurse with COVID positive patients is I'm on the front line. We are guiding them back to health. It's very different now from me being a travel nurse a few months ago compared to now. As every nurse now, not even being a travel nurse, just a nurse in general, we never had to walk through the doors of a hospital and be afraid for our lives and our lives of the loved ones around us, our friends and families. So our role as a nurse has changed drastically, and it's just different. But our roles now is the same as always, is to guide people back to health and make sure that they walk through the doors that they came through.
That's awesome and very commendable. We definitely appreciate you. So how has it been coping, working in this environment, being away from your family?
That has been the biggest thing. Of course, like I mentioned, that we are very fearful when we walk through the doors of the hospitals. But when all of this started, I was fearful of my family. It's like they're so far away, they're miles away. I'm all the way on the next coast. But the main thing that has gotten me through is, a few people know I travel with animals. I travel with my cat and my dog. I have a whole farm with me, baby. But currently now, I just have my dog. His name is Braxton. He's here with me. Come, Braxton.
Hey!
Here's my bubba. Hi. I cope with Braxton wise because I love nature, because I'm with him. So we'll go to parks that is outdoors so we can just breathe and don't have that mask on. There's no one around us, and he gets to run freely. I get to enjoy the atmosphere and the air, as well as I cannot forget my other travel friends. Like, we've helped each other cope through all of this. We are all away from family and friends. We don't have anyone out here but us for each other. So yet again, everyone is and supposed to practice social distancing, but that's very hard for us nurses. We cannot practice that when we are on the field. So because we barely are doing it at the hospital, we hang amongst each other only. We'll do things to just de-escalate, to talk and do things. We hang out, just drinks at one another's house, just to de-escalate all of what we're going through. So we're each other's coping mechanism here.
Take the ease off, kind of like, take the edge off of what you guys go through. And it's so nice that y'all kind of have that camaraderie amongst each other, and it's a built-in support system. Speaking of support, like, watching what you eat is important, and girl, you look good. So how has that been? Like, a lot of us in the COVID right now, thanks to Big Rona, we just either we eating whatever or making whatever or both, and it's struggling to work out, or some of us are finding inspiration to work out more. So how's that affected your fitness and health routine?
Well, I've always been the type of person, I like to cook at home. I eat out when my friends say, let's go out for something to eat, but you won't catch me going to drive-through on a night off. I'll cook. As always, how I've stayed so fit, I still stay active. Like I say, I find the best parks. Remember, I'm in a state that I don't know. So every day is like a vacation for me to learn here. It's less of a vacation now because we're on quarantine, but I still go to parks that are just open out in the open, and me and him will do a little hike, we'll do a little exercise, we'll run around, and it's just me and him. So social distancing is definitely happening. So just keep active. Keep active.
Yes. So with all the news that's in the media right now, like, is there a likelihood of a resurgence of COVID-19 after we're reunited from the quarantine?
So now the hospitals here definitely are preparing themselves for that, because unfortunately we don't want to look like New York. No offense, New York. Y'all know y'all home.
Thanks.
But y'all slammed. And how they got slammed is every other state is looking out for that and trying to prevent that from happening. So they're hiring a lot of us travel nurses. They're trying to stock up. They're trying to move the clean patients, clean up the non-COVID ones, so to make room for the COVID patients. And do we think of there's a surge? Personally, I only think there'll be a surge if our president uplifts this quarantine earlier than what we're supposed to, or what we should have the length of time as to be quarantined. I think, yes, we will get a surge then. Yeah, it will happen.
So how do we pre-plan for something like that?
Well, first take more control of it. Everyone unitedly needs to do quarantine, and practice it very strongly, and decrease the amount of, increase of positive COVID patients. Ours in California has plateaued. We have increased or decreased, and I'm speaking for the Bay Area. I think LA is getting hit now compared to the Bay Area. But of course, New York on the East Coast is way more than out here. Even though we started out here, because when I started getting COVID patients, I would ask other travelers and they had no clue. They were like, no, we don't have any. And then a week changed and they were overpopulated with it. And I'm like, well, damn, it hit them hard. It hit them fast. It hit us, but it never hit us that fast or that many. So but yet again, New York train stations, we're overpopulated. We're very close. So I could see why it rapidly got out of control.
Right. So that's crazy in itself. What's the craziest thing you've experienced, whether it was during the COVID outbreak or just in general being a nurse?
The craziest thing I've seen is during the outbreak, because this is the craziest we've all seen during this outbreak. It didn't get no crazier for anybody, even if you're not in healthcare. This whole thing, everything you see on the news, we are seeing in person. So the craziest thing is the amount of deaths that we're seeing in the hospitals, the amount of codes that we are running and we're participating in, the amount of roles that as nurses had to take on because we're the primary care. So now I am the phlebotomist, I am the nurse, I am the EVS that's cleaning your room, because the majority of people don't want to go in or be exposed. So we're just doing it all. The heartbreaks that we have to do to call family members to make them aware that their family is not doing too well. And sometimes if we can, possibility of FaceTiming to share with them so they can say their last goodbyes, or provide them the access to come in and say goodbye to their family member. And because it's becoming so frequently and so a large amount of it is the craziest I have ever seen in my life.
Have you become somewhat desensitized? And sorry, Cal, I saw you had a question, my bad.
No. It's still heartbreaking each and every time. Can I show them that? No. So that's when the desensitizing has to happen, but that doesn't mean I'm not feeling it. I'm not in it. I know how it is firsthand to lose something that you love so much, because I've lost someone so close to me. So to explain to someone is heartbreaking. I understand their part and I understand my role.
I was actually going to touch on that a little bit too, from the mental stigma from it. Do the hospital offer you some sort of like therapy for that? Because I mean, that's a lot to take in and a lot to do on a daily basis, and at such a height. Like, it's not like it's just, oh, I had one patient die. You're having like several patients die per day. So like, that's a lot for someone to come home with and just kind of like go back to normal life. So do they offer you some sort of mental health care for that?
They have offered like huddles if we want to talk about different things and stuff like that. And a good friend of mine has posted on Instagram and her stories access to free therapists for us. Therapists has dedicated time for us as RNs, and it's free for us to do through phone or telegram, how we are kind of doing, and de-escalate and talk. So it's out there for us. It is.
Okay. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what is something that you want the general public to understand about being safe during this time?
The main thing I want them to understand is definitely social distancing. When you are going out, because we will go out because we still need food, we still need things. And when you go out to these places, BJ's and Whole Foods or wherever you go, other people will be there. It's a definite thing as I have here is wear your mask. Put your mask on. You know, at that moment, this is when it's very important. I have mentioned that I don't wear it, but that's when I am in the park and there's no one around and it's just a whole open field for me and Braxton and I can actually see when another person is coming. And I still walk around with this just in case if I do need it at a point in time. Definitely have your hand sanitizer. It's a main thing is have your hand sanitizer. Always readily available. Get everywhere, all around. Always have some. Wash your hands. That's the most important thing is to wash your hands. And I'm not talking about wash your hands. You got to wash your hands. You got to get in there. And for 20 seconds, do longer. Seconds ain't going to hurt nobody. It's going to save your life. Do it. If you have to cough anything, hair in your armpit, or if you have your mask on, be conservative. Yes, we can still cough. We're humans. Spit going down the wrong pipes all the motherfucking time for me. Like, don't be looking at somebody all kind of wrongs because it's a natural thing to do these things. Understand that. Don't forget that. To sneeze, if it's a little chilly, it's human. But be respectful for the people around you because things are still happening. We're going to still look at you a little wrong, no lie, but cover your mouth, do a little something here. And I know a thing we've talked about before was gloves. Gloves are important, but you have to understand us healthcare, we use gloves because we know how to use them, touch something, get rid of them, and put a new pair on. We don't cross-contaminate, and people like to cross-contaminate. So now you're touching this grocery thing, and you're touching that. But then guess what else you're going to touch? My phone. And then I'm going to text with the same dirty-ass gloves. And then, mama calling me. All up in your face. All up in your face. When you come home, you take off your shoes, you wipe down, you wash your hands, you wipe down certain things. Don't forget your phone. Wipe the phones. Wipe them. They've been everywhere you've been, because you ain't going nowhere without your phone.
Yeah, I be wiping me and Dennis's phones with alcohol. Like I'll put it on a little cotton ball or on a paper towel, and I'll just wipe down the phones soon as we come in. And over here in the DMV area, they're starting on Saturday, we have to wear masks to go to any store. Like you cannot be in a store without a mask now.
Yes, they can turn you away. I've heard of that. I don't think it has not started here in California, but I'm sure it's going to start everywhere. That they can turn you away. No, I'm not selling nothing to you right now. No, don't come into my store because you don't have one. Sure.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, Kel, you have any other questions? I mean, like, I guess to end it on a lighter note. Go ahead, Kel. Go ahead. You had a question.
I actually didn't.
Oh, I thought you was gonna say something.
Thank you so much for coming on here and talking to us and letting us know like what the need is right now, like how we have to really practice social distancing and making sure that we're washing our hands. Thank you for all the tips. And we hope that everybody's out there really listening, paying attention, and is going to take heed so we can really flatten the curve.
Yes.
And Porsha, what is something that you look forward to after the COVID? Like, girl, like we here sipping, like what are some things that you're dreaming of doing after this is over?
Easy as hell to answer. Bitch, I'm a travel nurse. Travel! Catch me if you can. I'm catching flights, baby, on top of flights. And just to go back home. I want to go back to New York, but it's hot right now. So I'm here in California, but I want to see friends and family again. I want to hug some of that family and feel like a family. I just can't wait for us to be social again without this social distancing. That's what I'm looking for.
Yes, the virtual is cool, but it's nice to have a human touch. And girl, first thing we gonna do when we go to New York is go out to eat, because that's what we do.
Oh, you ain't never lied. We're gonna tear these places up. Can I order that? Can I order that? Yes, I can't wait.
I can't either. All right, well, ladies, I forgot in the beginning that we were supposed to cheers. Did you have something to drink? Yes, you do. Yes, girl. Yes. Yeah. All right. So cheers, ladies, to a future without COVID. Cheers.
Cheers.